Brent, so you guys have been talking for 45 minutes already. You've been in conversation.
Yes.
Great. Then let's do this. Let's get everyone in our bodies right now, because it's so easy to be in our heads too much as coaches. We're sharp, we're bright, we're intuitive, we're up here too much. So if you're not already standing, stand. I've got a standing desk. I'm going to move my desk up in a second, but stand. Let's do that. Move that out of the way. And do this. This tech. I'm going to move my microphone. Okay, don't worry if you're not fully seen in this moment. Some of you go off camera when you do this, but take a moment to get into your body. Whew. You see there's being in the room and there's being in the room. And we can assume that because the client is sitting in front of us or on a Zoom call, they're present. And they may not be, because the clients have all sorts of things going on in our lives, in their lives. Oops, let me just move this. I have a mat to stand on when I'm standing. So take a moment to move your body, wiggle, wriggle, make faces, make movements that if someone walked in right now, it's a good thing no one's looking. It would be kind of embarrassing at how silly you look. Really get silly for a moment. Move your body, jump around. Jolene, that's a perfect way to model it. Make a sound, because when you bring a sound into your breath, it really connects your body with your energy, your energetics. Okay, here we go. So keep moving. I was running an event a couple of years ago, and the team and I gather before an event begins, before each session of an event. And it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and the doors were opening in a few minutes, and something had happened. We were running late. We sat down in a circle, and someone in the team said, "Rich, we normally do a 5-minute meditation before we begin, but we've only got 10 minutes. Maybe we should skip it today." I said, you know what? If we only had 5 minutes, then the only thing we need to do is to take those 5 minutes to get still and to get present. And then we'll know exactly what to do after that. So you're welcome to stand if you want to choose to stand. You're welcome to sit if you want to sit. But when you're comfortable, make sure your feet are still on the ground, whether you're sitting or standing. Love the movements, Bonnie. Take a moment to sink in and feel that you're held. The ground is supporting you. The back of the chair has your back. You are held. You really are. You're held. We feel very alone often as coaches, as leaders out in the world, and we forget to get present to just how held we are. On the next in-breath, feel your belly, feel your chest, right up to the backs of your shoulders, and breathe out with a sigh. Allow your eyes to close and just trust that no one's looking at you because they've got their eyes closed. And if that's too uncomfortable, well, you get to choose how you play. But with your eyes closed, on the next in-breath, feel your belly, feel your chest, right up to the backs of your shoulders. Take one more deep breath. Feel your belly, feel your chest, right up to the backs of your shoulders, and then hold that breath inside. Hold it inside as long as you can. And then, whenever you're ready, breathe out with a sigh as long and as loud as you dare. And now, here we are, a bit more present than we were a moment before. Don't be afraid to do that at any time in a coaching session with a client. If you notice that you're not present, you've been thinking about the movie you want to watch after the call is over, or the argument you just had with your wife or your kids or your husband, and you're not present, it's almost always a clue that your client's not present either. But we forget that. We try and push it out the way, or don't worry about it. We just keep dreaming about that thing because the client's waffling on and they seem to be happy. If you're not present, it means they're not in some way. And you can always in any moment say, hey, you know what? Let's take a moment. Let's get back into our bodies. I was running an event once and someone came up on stage. I think it's one of the Mind Valley events, so it's probably online somewhere. And someone is on stage with me and I'm coaching them. And I can tell they're not very present. So I asked them to run to the back of the room and back to the stage. It was just a physical way, a pattern interrupt to get them out of their head and into their body. They run to the back of the stage, they come back on and they start talking again. And I can tell they're still not really present. They're still in their heads. I said, run again, but this time do it even faster. And they run to the back of the room, down everyone's laughing. They run back really fast. They get on stage. They can't talk. They're out of breath. And now I know they're in their body. Now I know they're present. And now we can begin. And we had a really powerful coaching conversation that wasn't up here, that wasn't heady, that was really down here. I love that so many of you have been playing the 90-day money game. It's a game that changed my life. When I first met Steve Chandler, before we wrote the book, first of all, he was my teacher for a few years. And then we began to do some work together. We put on our first intensive. We were going to have 30 people coming to meet us in a hotel. We were going to teach this stuff that we were practicing and teaching ourselves around how to enroll clients. 30 people, that was it. I think it was $900 we used to charge at the time. And we used everything we've written about in our book: connect, invite, create, propose. These are 4 parts of a framework. It's not a formula. If it's a formula, you have to apply it the same way every time for every person. No, it's a framework. It shifts and changes depending what you're up to, but it works. It's a very old-fashioned approach. Connect with people just to connect. It isn't, if I connect with you, then I can get you as a client. Can I connect with you? How's life? What's going on? Reach out to people just to connect with them. If you get genuinely curious with a sense of humor with the person you're talking to, at some point they say, what are you up to? And you could, oh, it's funny you should ask. I've got a spot for one coaching client right now. Funny you should ask. I'm filling a group right now and I've got 5 people in it. There's one more spot. Do you know anyone like that? Connect. Sometimes when you're connecting, it's not just about who can I connect with? It's also who can I connect with who? My friend Simon and my friend Joanne, those 2 people are up to something really similar right now. I don't like to make cold introductions. I find it really hard when someone sends me an email and said, hey, Rich, you should meet Fred. Fred, this is Rich. You guys will get on great. So what am I supposed to know? I don't know anything about Fred yet. Simon, hey, I know this amazing woman called Joanne. She works in the same industry as you. She's up to the same kind of projects you're up to. Would you like to be introduced to her? Hey, Joanne, let me tell you about Simon. Would you like to be introduced to him? If I get a yes from both, I call it a double opt-in introduction. And now it's a warm introduction. They can't wait to be introduced. So connect isn't just about who can I connect to, it's who can I connect with who. If you become known as a connector, you start to build a great community. People really love and trust you if you start to connect great people. Connect, invite. Sometimes you want to invite some of those people to a deeper conversation, but you make an invitation the way that I make an invitation if one of my kids is having a birthday party. Look, I'm an introvert, which means I'm not really a party guy, but my wife is an extrovert. She loves parties. And from the moment the kids were born, when it's the kids' birthdays, if you come, you're going to have a fun time. We've had everything from Mr. Bubbles, who blew life-size bubbles that you could step into, to a petting zoo. You name it, it's fun. And she makes great punch for the adults. So if you're an adult, your kids are going to play and you can get drunk and not worry about the kids. You see the sense of fun I have in which if you could come to my kid's birthday party, I know you're going to have fun. But if you can't come, I know we're going to have fun. That's the lightness with which you hold an invitation. Hey, would you like to have an experience of this thing called coaching? We've been chatting for a while. It sounds like it would be interesting. Would you like to experience it? It's that lightness of an invitation. When I wrote The Prosperous Coach Approach, it was an antidote to all the hard sell marketing that was online. It isn't anti-marketing. It was an antidote to that hard sale, hard pressure, high pressure marketing and sales that was out there. Do a 25-minute taster session and then get their credit card. This is a different place to come from. Really serve people powerfully. I'm updating the Prosperous Coach. And one of the things that I'd update is connect and invite, but invite them to a 20-minute conversation, not a 90-minute or a 2-hour coaching session. That will come a little bit later. Invite them to a chat. Hey, do you want to jump on a call and chat for 20 minutes? Hey, how'd you like to chat for 10 minutes? The purpose of a chat is to see if they're really the kind of person who's even ready for coaching. Otherwise, you're going to find you're serving people for 2 hours at a time, and they're not the people who even need coaching or want coaching right now. So let me break down what happens in a chat. Because I don't think this was even in being an exponential coach time. I think this is relatively new stuff that I've had in the last year or so as an insight. Christy, let me play with you in this moment. I'm talking to somebody real. So Christy and me chat, how's life? What's going on? We start to connect. And I say, hey, look, it sounds like that thing that you're up to, Christy. Coaching might be interesting. Do you want to have a chat to find out? Let me ask you a couple of questions in a 10, 15-minute chat about your dreams and what's holding you back. And I can give you some guidance. Maybe there's a book I can recommend. Maybe there's a program I can recommend. Maybe there's even some coaching that might be valuable to you. Would that be interesting to jump on a call and have a 15, 20-minute chat? Now it's a really easy bar for somebody to say, yeah, oh, that's okay. He's not trying to sell me something. He's not trying to give me, I'm just making it very easy for them to say yes. Christy and I get on a call and I say, look, I've got about 5 or so questions I want to ask you, Christy. Here's the first one. Sometimes I call this the holy shit rich question, but depending on whether you're comfortable with bad language, you choose how you do this. But Christy, imagine we get on a call 3 years time, 3 years from now, and you get on the call with me and you say, holy shit, Rich, life is amazing. The last 3 years have been incredible. The business is flying. My professional life, my personal life are amazing. Take a minute or two, Christy, to tell me about that. Tell me about what life will be like 3 years into the future. I'm not doing this in real time with you, Christy. It helps me to talk to somebody. I'm looking at you right now. So I asked that question. Take me 3 years into the future. What would life be like? Now how they answer is important. If they start to saying to you, well, oh, I think I'd have 10 clients and I'd be making this amount of money, and they're in the present looking into the future. I want to take them into the future. And I pause and say, no. Come into the future with me. It's the year 2023 and you call me and I pick up, it's FaceTime or it's Zoom or it's a phone call, and you say, oh my God, Rich, let me tell you about the last 3 years, and you're looking back. You want them looking back at the past rather than looking into the future. Take a couple of minutes. They tell you about what will make life amazing for them. Then you ask them, and these next 3 questions come from a mentor of mine called Dan Sullivan. What are the dangers? What are the dangers in your way, Christy? What might hold you back or prevent you from creating those things in the next 3 years? And then Christy takes a couple of minutes to tell me about the dangers, the things that might hold her back, stop her from creating that. Now, here's the other side. What about the opportunities, Christy? What about the things that could actually help you fly in the next 3 years? What are the opportunities around you that could really help you fly? Then the next question is, what are your strengths? What makes you special, Christy? What are some of your strengths that could really help you to turn that dream into reality? So we looked at what make the next 3 years amazing, and you tell me that from the future looking back. What are the dangers that might hold you back? The internal ones, the way you hold yourself back. The external ones, like the marketplace, the economy. The opportunities that you have. The strengths that you have. And then the next one is one of my favorite questions. The dark side of your gifts. The dark side of your strengths. One of my strengths is I'm a visionary leader. Well, one of the drawbacks to being a visionary leader is you stress out your team because you're always thinking about the next idea and they just want to implement the current one. Take you into the future, 3 years into the future, the dangers, the opportunities, the strengths, and the dark side of those strengths or gifts. Now, all those questions are really just background for the next one. The next one's the important one, but they're important to get out, to get a sense, is this someone I even want to spend time with? They tell you their big dream is to create a petting zoo, and you're excited about the world of tech and high flyers in Silicon Valley. They're not going to be your kind of client. So you might get an insight like that. Even though it's a great dream and you can give them guidance, you know they're not a client for you. The next question goes like this. Bring them back to that first one. Well, here's what I heard. In 3 years' time, in 3 years have been amazing. You'd be creating this in your life. This is the kind of money you'd have. This is the kind of community you'd be part of. This is the difference you'd be making. Go back to it. Really go back to it. And then say, what have you done about that? Those 6 words are really important. What have you done about that? Because if they say, well, nothing, this is the first time I ever talked about it. It's really exciting to tell you about this, but I've not done anything about this. I've had this as a dream for 10 years. I've not really done anything about it. They're not ready for a 2-hour conversation to think about coaching. They're in the dreaming stage. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes people dream for years, but they're not ready for you to offer, let's have a 2-hour conversation. You will filter out. You'll make it much easier when you go into those but if they say, oh my God, well, I've had a coach. I've been reading about this. I've written articles about this. I've been working on it as a side project. I've been doing this in the background. I've got a mentor. Oh, now you know here's someone who's not only got a dream and a vision, but they're committed. And now you can say, well, tell me, if I was to offer you 2 hours of my time where I would coach you on that, I don't charge for that. I would just spend 2 hours really serving you powerfully. Would that be of interest to you? And now you're there. Now you've got a powerful invitation to a coaching session. Connect, invite, create, propose. I talked about connect. I talked about invite, but invite them to a chat and then invite them to a coaching conversation. There's now 2 invites in there. Connect, invite, create. We call it create because this is the way you get to create and do your magic, bring your stuff in there. Some of you have a background as consultants. Some of you are coaches. Some of you are mentors. Some of you are trusted advisors. Bring in all your magic, your way of doing things, not my way, your way. And then at the end of 90 minutes or 2 hours, and this is where people actually make a mistake I see a number of times. They blocked out 90 minutes for a coaching experience. They spend 85 minutes coaching them. And then they pause and they say, do you want to hear about coaching now? And they try and rush in 5 minutes. Oh, let me tell you about my coaching. They get to 90 minutes because they're afraid. They have low professional self-esteem. They don't want to sell. If you're afraid of selling, you're never going to create clients. At some point, you have to sell. There's nothing wrong with selling if you have something you believe in. So if you have 90 minutes, in your mind, give 2/3 of the time for coaching. That's an hour. You do powerful coaching in an hour. But around about 50 minutes in, you've got to be thinking about how am I going to wrap this in the next 10 minutes? So around about 50 minutes in, the simplest thing to say is, let me pause for a moment. Let me check in with you. What's the single biggest insight you've had so far from anything we've talked about today? And then you can say, well, how are you going to apply that in the days and weeks ahead? And now you've taken them from a lot of talking to a single insight and how they'll apply it. Without application, ideas and dreams are nothing. You've got to actually put stuff into action. Now you can pause. You know there are 30 minutes left of this 90-minute call, and you can pause. Now you might find after 60 minutes, lovely person, but just not for you. The vision they're working on, the way they want to work, what they're looking for. You know, if someone says to me, Rich, all I need right now is accountability. I just need someone to hold me, make me accountable. If someone could, push me to do the things I say I'm going to do and hold me accountable, then I'd love to work with them as my coach. I'm going to say, well, that's not me. I just choose not to be an accountability coach. For me, I think if you need accountability, you're not dreaming big enough. When I have a big dream, nothing will stop me. Now that's me. Some people like to work around accountability. Some people need accountability. You've got to find a way that you like to work. But 60 minutes have happened. We've talked about their dream. I've coached them. I've given them powerful experience of what I do. And now I've paused. I've asked about an insight they've had, how they're going to apply it. And now I can pause. Tell me about the biggest insight you've had. How are you going to apply that? And I say, uh-huh. And I go quiet. Watch people's faces on the screen as I sit with this uncomfortable silence. You can see people were making notes and they begin to look up. They start to look around at other people. You can feel it in this moment. We're all getting more present. Now, I interrupted the silence to show you what was happening. It's uncomfortable, but I've trained my nervous system to get comfortable with silence. I'll just sit there. And at some point, if I'm willing to sit with the discomfort long enough, they'll say something. It might be, well, this is fantastic. Thanks, Rich. Thanks so much. That's great. And I know they're complete. They might say, this was great. How do I do more of this? What else do you do? Do you have any, what does your coaching look like? But something's going to happen if I can sit with the discomfort long enough. I really encourage you to do that. It lets it come from them rather than from you. Even, actually, especially if the person you're talking to is someone you know, oh my God, I'd love to coach this person. Go quiet. Wait for them to ask you. It's a lot like dating. It really is. By the way, if any of you are single right now, you can use the Prosperous Coach approach to create dates, to get into a relationship. I've coached people around this many times. It's exactly the same thing. Connect, invite, go on an experience together. Sometimes you've got to propose, whether the proposal is, let's go on another date or let's get married. It really works. Go quiet in that moment and see what they say. Look, if they say, thank you, that was amazing, and they don't mention coaching, and you really want to work with them and you think they're really inspiring, it's okay to say, hey, Minerva, you haven't said anything yet, but I want to tell you over on my side, I love that vision you just put out there sounds amazing to me. And what just happened in those last 60 minutes was really powerful over on my side. So I'm curious, would you be interested to hear what it would be like if you and I spent time together over weeks and months to turn that into reality? Every once in a while, I'll say that. I'll just say, hey, it was amazing talking to you. Would you like to talk about what it would look like if you and I to coach together? But if I pause enough, often they'll say to me, what does it look like? And then I can say, well, how many of you have watched the video, The Art of the Proposal? It's a video I made about 10 years ago now. It's called The Art of the Proposal. Okay, that's a must watch. I don't want to do it right now. I literally take you through every single step of how to make a proposal. It's the scariest part for me. You could just, I think it's in the program somewhere in the program, but you can just Google Rich Litvin, The Art of the Proposal. Take you through every step of a proposal, including one of the problems is how many of you have had someone say, oh my God, that was amazing. I'm in, I'll send you a check. I'll do it by PayPal. You get the money within the next couple of days. And then you never hear from them again. How many of you know that one? If you don't, you will. So here's what happens. Sometimes they really do think it's amazing, but they go away and they talk to their husband, their wife, their business partner, their bank manager. And they say, well, so what did you do with that person? I talked with them. Yeah, but what are you going to do for the $5,000 you're going to spend with them, or the $10,000 or $20,000? Well, I think I'm just going to talk with them. And that person goes, you're going to spend $10,000 just to talk? I can talk with you. You don't have to pay me a penny. And they start to question and doubt it. And in that Art of the Proposal, I give you the language and the skill set to help them enroll that person, because there's another level of enrollment that happens afterwards. Even for themselves, they start to doubt themselves. So, but I don't want to go through that right now. Thank you. Michelle's just posted that in the chat. You can see the link to that video. Connect, invite, create, propose. And now you've got these last 30 minutes. You can talk about how to do the proposal. Everything's in that video. And then you're in. So let's come back to the 90-day money game. Steve and I used to fill our events. This is back, I don't know how many years ago now, 14 or so years ago. 30 people, 2 of us filling them. We only need to get 15 people each, but we'd literally use the Prosperous Coach approach. We'd spend 2 hours with somebody in order to enroll them for an event that costs less than $900. And we do it again and again and again. And we would track, how many people did I connect with? Who did I invite? How many people did I serve? And then proposals. How much money did I make in proposals? And how many no's did I collect? We called it the no game. As Steve says, yes lives in the land of no. Byron Katie says, you can have anything you want in life if you're willing to receive 1,000 no's. You can have anything you want in life if you're willing to receive 1,000 no's. The truth is, most people are afraid and get overwhelmed after their second no. For most people, the third or the fourth no, and they quit. It's too much. You've got to train your nervous system to receive no's, to love receiving the no's. The more no's you get, I promise you, the more yeses are coming. So you have to train yourself to love the no's, not be upset by them. Oh, by the way, did you know that no is an acronym? It stands for next one. That's all it means. Next one. Connect, invite, create, propose. If you're going to play this game and play it well, if you're going to master the skills of creating clients for the rest of your life, then you need to track on a regular basis. How many people am I connecting with this week? How many people did I invite? How many people did I serve? How much money did I make in proposals? And how many no's did I collect? These are all lead indicators. But we tend to focus on the lag indicator. The lag indicator is how much money is in my bank account. If your bank account is low, you feel depressed. If it's high, you feel excited and you stop creating clients. Your bank account is a really poor barometer for your emotions. It will take you on this roller coaster up and down. Your bank account is a great barometer for your creativity and your connections. Your bank account is low, get more creative and connect with more people. That's it. Well, let me pause there. That's really an overview of Prosperous Coach 2.0, quick summary, 20 minutes. And let me check in with you. Put into the chat a single insight you've had from anything I just shared. And bottom line it, do it in a few words. What's one single insight you've had from anything I've just shared? All right. While you're sharing your insights, Carol shared a really funny story in the chat. I've just seen it. She was listening to one of my audios of me coaching the other day, must have been my podcast or something. And she was walking and it went silent. And she said, I walked 2 fields before I realized the audio had stopped. I love it. You know, what's funny though, is whilst if you're listening to my podcast, I don't hold the silence for that long for obvious reasons. But if you're actually being coached by me, there have been times when I've been silent for an hour with a client. I once had a client, we got on, I asked a conversation. It was Zoom, so I could still see they were there. They were quiet for almost an hour in reflection. And at the end, they paused and said, Rich, that was one of the most powerful coaching conversations I've ever had. You'd be surprised at the power of silence. It really has an impact on people. Most people never get deeply listened to. They just don't. You can listen to somebody really deeply, and then you can reflect back in a few words what they've just said to you. They feel heard. Most people don't feel deeply heard. You will really have an impact on these people. So I've got 74 messages and counting right now. I'm not going to read through all of the insights you've shared. It's not about whether I like your insight or not. It's the insight that you've got. So now let's take that insight and turn it into an action. What tiny step will you take as a result of that insight? Sophie said, no means next one. Alex said, your bank account's a poor barometer. I should say for your emotions, Alex. Rajiv wrote, insert chat before create. Well, those are great insights. How are you going to apply them? Turn it into the tiniest possible step. What's one tiny step you're going to take as a result of that insight? Great. Carol said, practice holding the silence longer, especially with a group. Yeah, it's very powerful. I do it on stage. Watch any of the videos you have of me online speaking in front of a room. You'll see me hold silence on a stage. Robert says, poor. So I lost that. Where did it go? So many messages are coming in. Disappeared already, Robert. Sorry about that. Okay. Great. Michelle, invite for shorter chats and practice silence. Vivian, I look at everyone as a potential connection. Elsa, stop jumping in to say something. Hold the silence. Merritt says, I'm working with a speech coach and we just worked on silence. Love it. Yeah, one of the most powerful things when you walk onto a stage is walk on and pause and look around the room and make eye contact with people one at a time. Nod, smile. Take 60 seconds, even 2 minutes, just to get silent. You will feel the room go like this to absolute stillness, pin drop silence. Very powerful way to begin a speech. We're often so afraid and so nervous that we jump straight in. Okay, let's pause on that. I'm going to ask you to pause on that. Will you put into the chat, what's one question you have for me? We've got 30 minutes left. If I could answer your question, what's a single question? Can you write the word question in capital letters in front of the question? That way they'll stand out for me. Write the word question in caps and then write your question. Elsa wrote, I had an English teacher who once entered our super noisy classroom. Instead of telling us all to shut up, he just stayed silent for about 10 minutes and everyone went quiet. Also, that was me. I was a high school teacher. That's what I would do. I worked in inner city London, some of the noisiest, most boisterous kids you could have. I would stand there, look around the room, and gradually the room would go quiet and come to stillness. That's great. Okay. Now, with 120 of you and lots of you wanted to ask questions, I won't be able to answer all of your questions, but I'll see. I'll have a look at what I can offer or where I can go. Vicky said, if I messed up and rushed an offer, should I go back and serve the person more? I'm feeling compelled out to reach her and kind of start over with her. Yeah, that's a great thing to do, Vicky. Hey, Sarah, I was thinking of you. I realized I made you an offer about us coaching together and the timing was off. You know what? On reflection, let's take that offer off the table. I don't think that's what you need right now. Let's take that offer off the table. That's great language to use with people. It helps people to relax. And then you can say, hey, tell me, Sarah, if I was to suggest you and I get back on and do another 2-hour coaching conversation, again, no charge for this, but I'll serve you deeper. I don't think we got to the heart of what's really going on for you, but I'd like to. Would you be interested? There you go. Sachdev says, build it question, building more hustle. So number one, that's not a question. Number two, you need to go and watch some Gary Vaynerchuk videos. I'm not the hustle guy. I'm the anti-hustle guy. I'm not about hustle. I'm about less is more. I'm about slowing down to speed up. I'm about looking for those tiny, tiny steps you can take that have an exponential impact. Let's see what other questions we got. Question from Enrique. What do you do when a client seems to have a negative perspective on life? You want to help them, but they stay on the negativity. I get curious, Enrique. Hey, I noticed that everything we talk about, you seem to have a negative take on that. Am I right? Am I correct on that? Where does that come from? I'm curious. How long have you had that? Has that been present all your life? And Enrique, that would probably, for me, be a clue. They're not my kind of client. I don't want to work with someone to help them have a more positive perspective on life. It's just not my thing. Some people are really great at doing that. You've got to choose what your filters are. That would be one of the filters that would tell me they're not the right person for me. Tom, how do you respond to someone who pays for coaching and then 3 days later asks for a refund? Nice question, Tom. Tom, come on live with me. Where are you? I want to ask you about that. Tommy, you might as well unmute him. There you go.
Hey, Rich.
Hey, man. Tell me more.
So I coach with my partner 2-on-1. Nice. And we coach people around their story and about connecting to their why, their gift, and what it is like, they have this big idea that they want to bring into the world, but they're not sure quite what to do about it. That's like where we're very kind of in a similar space to what you do. And we did 2 sessions with this one client who has this amazing vision. She's a kind of ideal, perfect client for us.
What's her vision? What does she want to create?
She wants to create her own coaching program that draws on Vipassana, it draws on health coaching, it draws on...
Don't tell me about the details of it. Sounds like she wants to create some kind of coaching program. Is that
Called
right?
Life on Purpose, yeah.
Yep, great. What's her track record? Has she ever done anything like that before? Is she working in corporate right now and she wants to leave? Give me a little bit of story.
She's been working as a carer, and she has just qualified as a health coach.
Mm-hmm. And what did you propose to her? How you work with her? What was the proposal? Sorry, let me rephrase that. What did she say yes to?
She said yes to bi-weekly sessions for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
To bi-weekly 2-hour sessions for 3 months.
And what does your intuition tell you? Why is she really asking for a refund?
My intuition is that she has, well, it's not really an intuition. We've worked with her on her story. She has deeply ingrained beliefs that for some reason she can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been something, when we first made the proposal, she was like, so we said, okay, let's take it off. Let's have another conversation. We had another conversation and she was like, yes, okay, let's do it. And then she backed out. So then we had another conversation.
Oh, okay. All right. So first of all, she said she wasn't in. Then she said she is in and backed out. What does that mean? What do you mean back? She gave you a check and asked for it back. She said, I'll pay you, but she didn't pay you.
So no, the first time she said she was in at the end of the call, and then came back and was like, oh, I've thought about it. And actually.
Okay, great. So let's stay there. Here's where the problem is. It's not at the end here where Tom wants to talk about. It's right back there that first time. Tom wants to talk about, the question was, how do you respond to someone who pays for coaching and 3 days later asks for a refund? So I'm getting context all the way back here. It was that first moment when she said, I'm in. What your job is when someone says, I'm in, don't do what 99% of coaches do, which is to say, yippee, give me a credit card. You test the yes. Hang on a second. Before you say yes, before I take any money from you, let me just check in. Are you sure there's not someone you need to speak to? What about your partner, your husband, your business manager? Is there someone you shouldn't speak to first? Let's slow this down. I have a practice when someone says, Rich, I'm in. I say, no, hang on, let's sleep on it. No, Rich, I had this the other day. I'll make it real for you. This woman said, I'm in, Rich. It's a $25,000 program I was creating for her. I'm in, I'll send you the money tonight. No. Let's both sleep on it. If we both wake up tomorrow in a couple of days and we realize we're 100% in, you'll send me the money and you're in. But if you wake up with any kind of doubt, I don't want you feeling any sense of guilt or obligation. It's a no. She said, well, I'll do it for you, Rich, but I know I'm in. Well, 2 days went by, and then 3, and then 5, and then 7. I hadn't heard from her. My team wrote to me and said, hey, what happened? I thought you said she was in. And I said, well, let's just wait. And then I got an email from her saying, hey, Rich, I've been away for a few days to do some reflection, and I've really thought hard about this. I know I said I was in, but here's the story. So she's an African-American woman, and she wrote to me and said, Rich, at this moment in time, I'm not sure whether I should be coached by a white man. And that's why I've paused on this. And I wrote back to her and said, I totally understand. It makes real sense to me. If now's not the right time for us to work together, if ever, that's totally fine with me. I support you. I love the vision that you have. I'm a stand for you creating it, whether or not we ever work together. And let me know if you'd like to jump on a call and talk that through, and I can support you. She said, you know what? I'd love that. We got a call two weeks into the future. So now it's 3 or 4 weeks since that first call. We get on a call. I said, hey, how's it going? What's going on? Tell me. And she told me what was going on and her thinking or what happened. And she said she talked to her son, and her son had said, well, Mom, are you saying you want to be coached by a black woman? And she'd laughed and said, oh, no, that isn't it. And she realized actually it wasn't about that story, and she'd kind of transcended that story. She's now a client of mine. you've got to test the yes. Because it's easy for anyone to say, yes, I want to work with you. Sometimes we do it or your clients will do it. Oh, I'd love to work with you, Tom. That was amazing. They say it because they don't know how to say no. They say it because they're excited in that moment. They say it for all sorts of reasons, and then things shift. Your job is not to say, oh, you say you're in? Great. Send me the money this afternoon. Let's slow things down. It's going to feel really uncomfortable. But it feels really good on the other side to have someone who is not trying to chase your money and pull the money out of you. They really trust you more, Tom. And if they were not going to become a client, it's not making them less likely to become a client when you say, let's sleep on it. It actually makes them go, oh, wow, this is unusual. It actually makes them more likely to become a client if there was even a slightest doubt. That's the mistake that I see right back there. And then it happened a second time and now a third time. She doesn't want coaching. I'd write to her and say, I'll call her up. Or I love these days to grab my iPhone, make a little video message to people. Hey, Simone, I was thinking of you. I've realized coaching's not right for you right now. It might be down the road, but let's call it a no for now.
You're absolutely right that that's exactly where the mistake happened. And there was a level of overexcitement about the yes. Yeah. I guess the situation that it feels like we're in now is that she does want it.
No, she doesn't. If she wanted it, she'd still be with you. She wouldn't be asking for a refund. She doesn't want it, Tom. My brother, for 10 years, was telling me that he wanted to make a real difference in the world. He's a high-end financial consultant, but he wanted to make a real difference in a different way, giving back somehow. And sometimes I'd support him with that. We'd chat about it. I'd coach him on it informally. Once I did a formal coaching session with it. Every few months over those 10 years, he'd come back to me and tell me how frustrated he was. He wasn't making more of a difference. And I just had to give him space because I wasn't his coach. 10 years from the moment he started talking about this, he called me one day and said, oh my God, let me tell you what I've done. And he's created this group of 10 people who are high-level investors, people out in where he lives, who are now, they've built a school in Sri Lanka. They're just doing all sorts of amazing things to make a difference in the world. It took him 10 years. If what you just said, anyone watching him would have said, no, he's ready. He really wants this. No, he didn't want it until he wanted it. Now, let me give you a different piece of perspective, because I know I have a sense of what you might be feeling right now. Long time ago now, the first time ever I coached someone who flew across the country to have a coaching experience with me. I was really excited. She flew from New York to LA to meet me for lunch for a 2-hour coaching experience. She ran some of the top TV networks in the country. We finished the coaching conversation. She said, I love this. I'm in. I'll send you a check. I don't know how much I charged back then. Let's say it was 25 grand for a year, but she wanted 6 months. It's never, for me, I always make it more expensive to work with me for less time. So if it's, let's call it 20 for easiness. If it's 20 grand to work with me for a year, it won't be 10 for 6 months. It'll be 12 or 13 or something. So she sent me a check for 10 grand for 6 months. It was exactly half of what I charged for a year. And that was less than I charged for 6 months. But I was so excited about this woman that she'd be a great kind of client for me that I said yes to her, and didn't question it. That was my mistake. I should have challenged her. I shouldn't have questioned that. I should have said, hang on a second. But I was afraid she'd take her money and she'd leave. Number of times over the years, people have said, I want a refund. And I've been nervous about giving the refund because I haven't got the cash. Like, I wanted that cash. I already spent it. It's like, come in and I felt great and I needed the money. With her, that was my mistake. I should have challenged her back in that moment, sent the check back. Oh, no. Just by the way, it's 13 grand for 6 months. Let me know if that's interesting, or we can do less time if you want. Didn't challenge it. That led to her firing me later on. That we might track it all the way back to how I showed up in that moment. Another time someone said to me, hey, I want a refund. And over the years, I had that a number of times. Here's what I'll do, and maybe this is the right place for you right now. I'll reach back and say, hey, look, let's jump on a call. Let's talk for 5 minutes. I want to make it easy. Let's talk for 5 minutes. I get on the call and I say, look, I could give you that refund in 10 seconds, just pressing a button on PayPal. But you hired me as your coach for a reason. You said you'd invested this because you have this big vision for what you're creating. You told me what your doubts and fears and insecurities are. That's why I'm here. So whilst it would be easy for me to hit the button on PayPal and refund the money, then I wouldn't be a powerful coach. And that's why you hired me. So I'm here to have the uncomfortable conversation with you. Let's go there. Let's talk about your fear, because if you don't bypass this fear right now, that's never coming. You are never creating this. It doesn't mean I can't refund you by the end of this conversation, but let's talk about the fear that's holding you back. The fear that's had you 3 times say, I'm in, no, I'm not. I'm in, no, I'm not. I'm in, no, I'm not. The fear that's going to constantly get in your way from creating what you want. Let's handle that now forever. Are you interested? Because otherwise, not only that goal you told me about, but every other goal you say you want is never coming your way. Do you want to have that conversation? Because I'll block out 2 hours to have that conversation. So you never have to have that conversation ever again in your life. Do you feel the power which I'm bringing to that, Tom?
100%. And yes, thank you for that. That was the last conversation that we had. It was all of that. It was like, we don't need to work. You don't need a coach. You don't need me. You don't need us. But this is your story. Where else is it showing up? And then after that, she was like, yes, I'm definitely in. She paid the invoice. And now again, the stories come back.
So maybe next time, if you had someone like this, you get really clear. Hey, you need to know that there's a no refund policy. The moment you're in, you're in. I learned this after that woman who ended up firing me, that one who flew across the country. After that, I had a no refund policy. I don't know if it's legally binding, to be honest, but it does draw something out of people when you say that, when you speak to that. The other thing I've done in the past, when someone's asked for a refund and I haven't really got the money to refund them, is I've said something like this. Well, look, how long was it for? 3 months?
3 months, yeah.
Here's what I'll do. I will coach you at no charge for the next 3 months. If you don't create any of it, but you have to play full out. If you play full out and don't create anything, then I'll refund that money in 3 months' time. But if you create things, you won't even ask me for a refund. In fact, you'll be asking me how do you invest more money for your coaching? I will give you that full refund in 3 months if you play full out. You hired me as your coach. If you can't make this happen, it means it was a mistake. But I'm not letting go. I'm not backing down. You hired me as a reason. Hired me for a reason, and I'm still here with you. And I will give you that refund in 3 months' time at the end of it if you have played full out and created nothing. But I'm not going to be the one who backs down on your dreams.
That's powerful.
Okay.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, man. Whew, I can feel that in my body. Like, you have to really go there. If you're going to bring this to them, they want someone to lead. They really do. That's why we hire a coach. We want a coach who will tell us to do the things that we know we need to do. That's so often why we hire coaches. I have a coach right now. We have 30-minute sessions once a week, about 15 minutes. So if I have 30-minute coaching sessions with my coach, I have to be really clear about what I want to ask him, what I'm going to be coached on before I get there. There's no time for me to waffle and make conversation. I'm clear. I want coaching on this. I come in prepared. And usually within about 10 or 15 minutes, I've answered my own questions. And it's like, okay, I think I'm done. 10 or 15 minutes in, most times I'm complete on my coaching sessions with my coach. All right, I've got lots of messages in front of me. Let me skim down. It looks like Buki has dropped off the call, but please could you share strategies for connecting deep virtually? The text on connecting in Prosperous Coach was written at a time of face-to-face connections. Well, yes and no. I have always coached over the phone before Zoom. What do you use? Skype. Because when I first started coaching, I was traveling around the world. So I was always coaching people on the phone at the beginning. I didn't want to coach people over the phone. If we start coaching and you go to your coach training, isn't it amazing to work with people in person? Why would you want to work with someone over the phone? I thought. But I knew if I don't work with people over the phone, I'm going to have to stay in one country for the rest of my life. And I wanted to travel at the beginning of my career. So I started coaching over the phone, and I built this sensory acuity I didn't know I could have. I could hear in the pause of a breath or a sigh, things that I wouldn't have noticed if I'd been coaching in person. So I can connect virtually. I've been doing it for 15 years. I wouldn't let that worry you. Michelle says, how can I ask my day job employee to coach his team? There's a great book by my friend Michael Bungay Stanier called The Coaching Habit. It's a book designed for leaders in organizations, managers, to coach their team members. It's got these 7 really simple questions. It's a really great book, The Coaching Habit. Vivian says, should I keep from coaching people very close to me? Probably. How many of you, the moment you started coaching your mum, your sister, your brother-in-law, your friends, and pissed them all off because you coached without permission? Anyone know that one? Yep. I know I'm not alone in that. Most of the time, don't coach the people close to you. If you do, then do it very clearly the way that a surgeon would. If your brother-in-law or sister-in-law was a surgeon and you said, hey, my knee's hurting me, can you take a look at it at a dinner party? They'd say, well, not right now, but if you want to call my receptionist and book an appointment, I'll see you at my office. Do that. Hey, I can help you with that, but I'm not going to chat to you about it in the pub or over a chat on a Zoom call. Let's block out an hour for a really powerful coaching conversation. In that conversation, I won't be your sister. I won't be your friend. I'll be a coach, and I'll say the kind of things that I would never say as your friend or your sister. Are you okay with that? Shabam says, how do I invite for 20-minute chat someone I'm connected to on LinkedIn? Well, don't jump straight to an invitation. Go to connect first. If you're connected on LinkedIn, you're not really connected. A social media connection is not the same as a connection. Find out about them. Get curious about them. Learn about them. Read every blog article they've ever written. Watch every YouTube thing they've ever put out. Read their company reports and get to really know them. Write to them. Build a relationship. Hey, I read that article you just read. I was really curious about that thing you said. I love that video. Fascinated to see how your company's doing right now. I see you went to this university. Me too. Do some research. Build a connection. Let's see what else you guys have got. Minerva says, are you saying I need more than one session before booking a client? Right now, I do a free intro session and then go into an offer into my coaching program. So language is really important, Minerva. I don't use the word free and I don't use the word offer. I don't use the word funnel, even though I've built a business right now and we have a community. I've got 20,000 people who follow me in different ways. The irony of writing a book about how to build a relationship, a business one connection at a time, is that I got well known and I've got this community of 20,000 people now. But so I have what in the business is called an email list, but we never call it an email list in my company. We never call it the funnel. The funnel is, you give someone a free offer, they can get your ebook for free and they come down, they start to pay you a little bit of money, then more money, and they become a client. I don't use that language because imagine how it would feel if you overheard my team talking and said, where's Minerva on the funnel? We call it the coaching journey. Where's Minerva on the coaching journey? Oh, she's on my, she gets my newsletter. Minerva's been to one of my intensives. Minerva's doing Be an Exponential Coach. We talk about the coaching journey. I don't talk about free sessions. I say there's only 2 ways to work with me. You can work with me where I don't charge you anything. You work with me where I charge you a significant amount of money. Language is important. Those tiny things make a difference, because if it's free, everything online is free. You don't want to be having free stuff. It might seem a tiny distinction, but language is powerful. So am I saying do more than one session before creating a client? Maybe. Last year, I met a guy who was a hedge fund manager. We did 3 live 2-hour sessions at a hotel around the corner in Santa Monica. After the first one, he said, can we talk about working together? I said, not yet. I'd like to serve you more. I don't think we got close enough yet. Do you want to have another one to dive a little bit deeper into what you're creating? He said, wow, I love that. What do I pay you for? No, I don't charge for that. you pay me if you become a client, but I feel compelled to say, I'd love to support you going a bit closer into this dream, a bit deeper into it. But a second conversation, he said, can you tell me about what it would look like to work with you? I said, sure. But we'd finished the session. I said, why don't we do another session where I'll tell you the details about how we can work together. So that'd be great. We met up a third time. And this is what I always do. If I get on a call, because sometimes you fill the 90 minutes of your call and they say, well, how do I work with you? You don't want to squeeze it into 5 minutes. Sometimes we try and rush it. That's not a powerful proposal. So you look, there's only 15 minutes left. I don't want to rush this. Why don't we book another call where I'll give you some time to work on the things we talked about. And in the next call, I can tell you all the ways to work together. Great. We get on that call. This is what I do when I get on that call. I say, just tell me why are you here? Things can change. Oh, well, Rich, I'm still here for the same reason. I want you to tell me the ways I can work with you best. All right. Well, before I do that, how about I coach you a little bit more? We've got an hour blocked out for the call. Why don't I coach you? Every time I want to get them back into an experience of me. So at some point, Minerva, when they're wondering about the 3 options I put on the table, they're not asking themselves, can I afford that? Is it worth doing that? They're just saying, how can I not keep working with Rich right now? So let me see where I go next. Yeah, so my answer is yes. Keep serving them until it feels right. If it's the right person, sometimes it'll feel like, I'm complete and you don't want to do that any longer. And sometimes like, okay, well, these are the 3 options. Let me know if you want to talk about them. But most of the time it's like, keep serving. Thanks, Minerva. All right. I'm going to pause here, I think, in a moment. I've got something like 90 different questions from you. Let's see, where 1 or 2 before I finish. Elsa asks, how do I overcome imposter syndrome? I've been a qualified coach for 9 years. I've been coaching for even longer, but I still struggle to own coaching as my profession. I've accumulated multiple certifications over the year, but I never feel like I'm knowledgeable or experienced enough. So Elsa, you need to watch my friend Marissa Peer teaching her course, I Am Enough. It's a Mindvalley program, but you can watch her videos without paying anything online. I have a different take on imposter syndrome. I say, if you don't feel imposter syndrome, you're not playing big enough. So I don't want it to go away for you, Elsa. That's not my desire for you. My desire that in 10 years' time, you say, I've still got imposter syndrome, but listen to what I'm up to. So don't worry about trying to let it go. I do recommend you watch Marissa's stuff because we've all got an element of that inside of us. I'm not enough. But how do I say this? Dude, get over yourself. There are people out there who need your support. Steve Chandler used to say this. It's like we're coaches. The metaphor is we're walking in the desert and on our back is a tank of cold, clear water. And all around us in the desert are people dying of thirst. Elsa, can I have some water, please? Elsa, I'm dying. I need some water. Elsa, without this, I will not survive. And there you are saying, well, I haven't yet got the certification on pouring water in the desert. I'm not sure about my self-esteem is high enough yet. So I'll come back to you in a year or 2 and I've got a few more qualifications. Excuse my French, guys. Elsa, give them the fucking water. People need your support. Get out of your own way. Stop. Your attention's on you when you're worried about this. Go out and put your attention on them. What do they need? How can I serve? How can I help? And they'll get what they need because you've got everything you need to support them right now. Thanks, Elsa. A perfect way to finish. That really stands for all of us. So let's do this. 2 minutes to go. Will you guys, each of you, please, right now, put down into the chat, what's the single biggest insight you've got from today and how you're going to apply it? Insight and application. Thanks, Rasmus. Great, some great insights here. Okay, so I'm not going to read through them all now because this is for you, not for me. This is how I coach. My coaching isn't about what I do next, it's about what you do next. I believe coaching is a 200% relationship. I will bring 100% of myself to the table. You've got to bring 100% of yourself. Tom's bringing 120% of himself and his client's bringing 20. You know, he's playing full out and she's not. Well, Tom, you got to be clear on this at the beginning. You know, I'll bring 100%. You have to bring 100% too. Otherwise, I'm not interested in coaching. And Toma, let me come back to you before we finish. Thank you guys, by the way, for not only for being here, for being an exponential coach. It's one of my favorite programs I've ever created. I'm really proud of it. If you don't yet see, I write on a regular basis. Just go on my website or sign up to my newsletter. I've written some of the most powerful stuff in the last 5 months. You know, I've written 60 articles in the last 5 months. I've made 30 podcast episodes and 14 videos. That's on top of delivering and creating 9 new different kinds of coaching programs. I never stop. So if you want to learn what I'm up to, please do come in. Toma, thanks, man. It's been really fun connecting with your team.
Thank you so much, Rich. Thank you. I think this was brilliant. And just to wrap it up for the last minute, you guys. Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you, Rich, because I know you're always like serving powerfully. And what I always see, I think this is, well, we're gonna let you know next week a bit what more of the outcome of this Porsche's quest was, because I think, that will be fun for you to see as well.
Yeah, I love it.
And I really wanted to appreciate it because you always come in and play full out, and I see that. And I think this time it was, my God, some really powerful stuff. So for all of you guys, just so I think if you're asking yourselves, hey, what are the next steps? Because hey, okay, our community experience finished in this 1 month. But you know where one place finishes, the next part starts, and there's all kinds of ways how you can continue. Right, we'll have it continuous mastermind in this group. There's a ton of great stuff on Rich's website, which I believe you can just find. You can simply Google Rich, and you'll find his website. And sign up to everything he's doing, because I know the one thing I think I've gotten most out of being part of Evercoach as well is the closer you are to the people who really inspire you the most. The more powerful you get as well. So don't hesitate to make that step and to really get closer to Rich and what he's up to. And if you ask yourself, Will, what of all these things should I really take? I think you know. I believe you know exactly what's the right thing to do. And thank you for joining us. And well, I'm looking forward to celebrate all of you guys next week and see what you're going to create. Thank you.
Thanks, Toma. Thank you, gang. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.